Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is me, NomNomNom069, starting up a new tutorial series. And today in our tutorial series, we will be beginning GDI plus graphics using the C# Windows Form application building. So first things first, we want to start up a new project. And you see I have a bunch of other projects options here. If you just went and downloaded C#, and I'm assuming you know how to download C# if you're here for a tutorial. But anyways, this is GDI plus graphics. We're not going over forms. We're just going GDI plus graphics only. So first thing we want to do is go and open and start a new Windows Form application, and we will call this application GDI plus tutorial. Alright, and it starts us up with a new form. And this form, we're just going to leave it blank. We don't want to resize it. We should just change the text on it to GDI plus tutorial and double click it. This will take us to our form load. And in our form load, we first want to set this dot double buffered equals true. You can also, if we go back to the form design, we can come up here to double buffered and hit true. That'll also work as well, but I like to put it in a form load just so I know that I made that change. What the double buffer does is it prevents flickering when we're drawing a lot of objects on the screen with the GDI graphics. So you're going to want to double buffer your form. Secondly, we need to access the paint function for our form, and that's really easy. We're just going to do this dot paint plus equals, and you're going to see new paint event handler, and as a parameter form1 underscore paint. Press tab to insert. Just press tab to insert that. That's what we want to happen. And when you do that, you're going to get an error because right now what it wants is this function to be declared someone. So I like to control C, and what we do is private void control V form1 paint, and first we need object sender, and then system dot windows dot forms dot paint event args, and we'll call it E. There we go, form1 dot paint. So what happens is our form load, in our form load we come down here and we add a new paint event handler. So in this function is where we're going to draw everything to our form. Like this is the new function that draws for our form. So next things first, we actually want to add a timer to our form, so that way we can have the screen constantly refresh. So what I like to do is I need to view the toolbox first. So other windows, toolbox, if your toolbox is lost, and just add a timer. And timers aren't that difficult to use. I'll go over them very quickly with you. So we'll call this a TMR app timer. Set its interval to 10. The interval of the timer is in 10 milliseconds, and we'll set enable to true. So every time, so what a timer does is this function right here, app timer tick. What happens is every 10 milliseconds, whatever is within this function will fire off, will happen. And so all we want to happen is this dot refresh. So what's this going to do is going to make our form refresh and draw over again. So in this tutorial we're going to go over the rectangle function since they're the simplest to do, and we'll start it off with just rectangles. So first we need to access, how do we draw to the form? Well, in our paint args parameter up here is E. Within that structure is an E.graphics. Our graphics is like what we draw with. So this, don't look at the errors right now, it's just because we haven't filled out the rest. E.graphics. Our graphics contains a ton of functions which allow to draw stuff to our form. There's draw arc, beziers, close curve, draw ellipse, draw image on scale, draw image on scale and clip, draw line, draw lines, draw path, draw pie. We're just going to start with a rectangle. Draw rectangle. Now there are 3 overloads to the function. The rectangle just draws the outline of a rectangle. There's a fill rectangle function which we'll do next. We're going to do a pen and a rectangle rect. Pen, fill X, Y, width and height. And then our point and our pen, x, y, width, height for the third one. Is there any difference? Oh, there are floats for that one and ints for this one. So let's draw with the first one, our pens rectangle rect. So we'll do pens dot black, and we're gonna create a new rectangle here because I don't want to actually make a structure for it. The rectangle structure just contains an x and a y and a width and a height, and we can access that by the constructor. So we'll draw this at 0, 0, and give it a width of 50 and a height of 75. So what it's just going to do is every 10 milliseconds we're going to draw a new rectangle. We're going to have to build our solution. So here we go. F7 to build, and we'll start debugging. And here's our form. We're drawing a black rectangle up there on the other screen. Now let's go to the overloads for this function. So let's do e.graphics.draw rectangle and pens dot red, and we'll just do we're gonna do the second overload. And the only difference between the second and the third is one is integers and the other's floats. We'll do the ones in integers. So we'll do let's put it at 50, 50, give it a width of 75 and a height of 100, because I like that. That's what I want. So now if we run our application, we get a red rectangle over here, drawn with the GDI plus. Now let's say we want a filled rectangle. Let's do as like a black backdrop. So do e.graphics.fill rectangle, and now you're gonna see here is a brush parameter, and the other one we had a pens, and there's a standard set of pens that we can access, pens.black, pens.red, and our things. There's the same thing with brushes. So we want our brush to be, let's do a brushes dot blue. We'll do blue, and a rectangle, new rectangle, and we'll just do 0, 0, 300, 300. And what this will do is this will fill the background of our form, since our form is 300 by 300. Not exactly, but it'll work. A new rectangle will be 300 by 300, and since it's drawn first, it'll be behind our black and red rectangles. So let's run it, and we have our brushes, our blue backdrop on our red and black rectangles we drew. So we do that with a fill rectangle, and there's other overloads for the function. There's the rectangle f rect, second kind of rectangle, float xy, float height width, and then just our xy. So we can do as the same as 0, 0, 300, 300, and get the same results as we got with the other one. Bam, there's our blue backdrop. Now there's one more thing I want to go over. Pens are generally used for line objects, like our draw rectangle, where it's just a set of lines, whereas brushes are stuff that fills in areas. That's just something I want to make clear. And now let's show you what would happen if we had double buffered set to false. So let's get rid of this line of code. I set it over here to true, so double buffered equals false. Now if we want our app, see this? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bunch of flickering. This is because it's not double buffered. Double buffering is when it renders like the whole image without actually drawing it to the screen. So it'll render it and then really quickly put it all on the screen. So what happens is what happens right now is this blue background fills in, then this is drawn and this is drawn, and you see it all happen. It's kind of like if I were to take a paintbrush and wipe all the way across the screen and color the whole screen in black, and you saw me like use the paintbrush to fill in the screen black, instead of 1 second the screen's like this and then the next second it's black. So we'll just go back to our form load and just set list dot double buffered equals true. So this is our first GDI plus graphics tutorial, and I know it's probably a little long, but thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.